Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Danny James and I'm back again with a new video. In today's video, I want to show you 5 music video effects that you can easily do on Adobe Premiere. No plugins, no After Effects, no crazy stuff, just basic stuff. Make sure to stick till the end of the video. We got to 1k subscribers in June. I'm thinking we can get to 10k by the end of the year. Whether that's possible, it's dependent on you guys giving this video a like, subscribing, sharing it with your friends. Just enjoy this video. Without further ado, let's jump into Adobe Premiere. Now, the first effect that I'm going to be showing you, I don't really have a name for it, but it's whereby we are going to be scaling in once, twice. It's majorly in hip hop videos, so I think you'll get the gist of it. Now, the first step that you need to do, just duplicate your clip twice, like that. I'll move 5 frames to my right, so I'll hold my shift key and go to the right once. That's 5 frames. I'll drag both these clips. Maybe I think 5 frames might be too small, so I'll add another 5 frames so that it's 10 frames. And then I'll have that clip there. I'll once again go 10 frames by hitting shift and my right arrow key twice. And the clip that is right above, I'll also trim it. And then you can drag the rest of the clips from the right hand side and bring them here. What you're going to do, you're just going to scale in, go to your effect controls, and then under scaling properties, scale out. We're not scaling in, but we're scaling out, just like that. 75 seems good. And then for the second clip, let's even scale in a little bit lower. So we are going to put it on 50. Like that. So what that looks like, very simple, very easy to do. We can add some sauce onto this just by simply adding some color. So just go to your effects and look for an RGB, and then I'll add it onto my second clip. You can choose which colors you want. So if I reduce the greens, the red will pop in like that. So if I reduce and put all the other values to 0, the red will be the predominant color. Yeah, so I think this should look good. Bam. So that's pretty easy. Now the second effect that I want to show you is an invert effect. So I have this clip by Young Yemi right here. And what I want to do first, just duplicate your clip by holding Alt and dragging it up. And then go to your effect controls and look for the invert. And then slap it on that clip. So you should see what it looks like. Now, basically for the invert effect, it needs to last for like 10 seconds as it disappears. So what I'll do, I'll adjust a few settings for this invert effect. You can use the RGB. I like to play with the hue. So with the hue, I'm able to see through the image, but when it's on RGB, it affects the entire alpha channel. So the alpha channel is basically everything. So that's what it looks like. So you can cut it like this, get your razor tool, and then cut that clip, maybe somewhere there. And then I'll measure about 5 frames, 5 frames, and then another 5 frames, cut it, 5 frames, cut it, and then another 5 frames. I'll delete the excess on my right and on my left, and I also delete the ones that are on the middle, like that, so that, yeah, so we like that flash. Now you can keep it shorter, not necessarily 5 frames, can trim it a bit, and I'll drag this one nearer to this. Yeah, like that. You can add some sauce onto your invert effect simply by changing this one to hue. Okay, so we can see through this image, but it's not really eye-catching. So go back to your effects and look for an HLS. So HLS stands for hue, lightness, saturation. So since we changed our invert settings to hue, now we can play around with the hue in the HLS. So I'll bump this value up to almost 300, and then I'll also increase the saturation. Now you can see we have something trippy happening. Now I also find it better to play around with how these effects line up. So we have the invert and then we have the HLS. I want to put the HLS above the invert. Now we have something a bit more trippy happening, and now you can cycle around these colors and you'll see what you get. So that's it. So I'll do the same thing on this second clip. So I'll simply delete the invert effect, come back to my first one here, copy these 2 effects, control click, hit Ctrl C, and then paste it on this one. So let's play this. Yeah, so that looks okay. You can play around, you can add more effects. Maybe I would go to my brightness and contrast, add it onto these two clips, the two duplicates. Then under the effect controls, I'll increase the brightness so that it stands out a little bit more. Just a bit. 30 seems enough. I'll do the same here. Yeah, so let's preview these. Yeah, so you can have it extend for a short bit of time, just whatever looks good in your edits. It also depends on the mood of the song. You might be editing a romantic song, and I'm really misguiding you here with the timing. Now, the third effect that I'd like to show you is actually a transition. So it's a Saber transition whereby you have some light rays coming into your frame, splitting up, or a line that goes across the frame, and the new video comes in. I have created a pack with 15 of these assets that you can try out, that you can use into your videos. I'll give you 2 for free that you can try out and see if you like it. If you do end up enjoying it, you can purchase the entire pack and see what's in there, because there are a couple of variations that can look really dope. Now, how to do this transition: with your 2 clips next to each other, just drag your second clip above your first clip such that the first clip continues to overlap and play behind. I'll go to my Saber transitions pack. Now I'll grab the Saber 11. I think I'll be giving that one for free. Okay, here it is. It has 2 lines. Drag them onto your timeline. This is what they look individually. We have a matte layer and you have a Saber layer. Now you want to keep the Saber layer on top of the matte, and then you can drag these 2 on top of your second clip. Right where your second clip begins, drag the 2 next to it. Now just go to your effects and look for track matte key. Track matte. Drag it to your second clip. On your effect controls, you're going to change 3 parameters only. So change your matte layer to video number 3. Video number 3 is the one which has the matte. And then change the composition so that it composes using Luma. And then enable this checkbox so that it reverses. Now if I play this is what it should look like. Yeah, so that looks really dope. Yeah, and the advantage of using these Saber transition is that you can really customize them. You can customize the speed. So let me just show you practically. Right where the transition ends, I'll cut the excess. Now if you want to increase the speed so that it goes faster, you can highlight on these 2 clips, hit speed, and maybe you can put it at 170 such that it's now shorter. And then if it plays, this is what it looks like. That's a faster transition. You can also use the rate stretch tool to do the same. Again, you can also customize the color. So on this layer which has the Saber, go to your effects and look for an HLS, put it there. Again, we are rotating through the hue. Go to your effect controls and you can change up this hue. Now you should see your colors should be able to change. If you like this red or this pink, this should look, and it can really work. You can also add a keyframe for hue so that it changes as it transitions, so that the colors can change. So let me just do that. I'll add a keyframe for hue and then make sure it starts at 0, put this keyframe here and put this other keyframe to the end. Now let's watch that. Yeah, you can see the colors change as it transitions. So that's really dope. You can support this channel by buying a pack or maybe other digital assets that I have on my shop. Now I'll show you our 4th effect, which is how you can do a fisheye effect. So I have this clip right here. I'll duplicate it just in case so that you can compare the results, and I'll put the other clip right beside. Now on this first clip here, let me also change the label. Go to your effect controls. Okay, and then we need to add a mask. Under opacity, you can add a mask. Now let's take this ellipse and then stretch it just quite a bit across all centers like that. Just try to place it centrally. As soon as you're done creating this mask, go to your mask settings and let's adjust some parameters. So let's increase the feather and bump it up. Okay, And then let's also play around with the mask expansion. Just bump up the expansion and the mask feathering like that. The second step, go to your effects bin and look for a lens distortion effect and drag it on top of that clip. You can already see some of the results, but let's just finish this off. The curvature, just bring it towards -30 to -40 should look good, like that. Okay, so you can see what the lens distortion effect really does. It creates that fisheye sort of effect. Now we can clean this up just a little bit. Go to your effects and look for a directional blur. You can try other blurs, but I recommend using the directional blur. Put it on your clip, and then you can increase the blur length and the direction. You can change it to 90 degrees. It's basically a direction, so you can experiment around with it. Now for the directional blur, I would also add a mask for it. Create an ellipse mask, something like this. Don't have it occupy the entire frame, just around this. Afterwards, invert this selection so that it affects the regions outside this ellipse. Now this should really sell the effect. And now the last step that you can do to pull this off, just bump up your scaling like that. And then you can also adjust the position so that it's a bit more central. Yeah, and just like that, we have created a fisheye effect. I duplicated this clip so that you can really compare the difference. You can see the clip goes from looking like this to looking like this. So it's a combination of the masks, the directional blur, the lens distortion, and your overall creativity. Okay, for the fifth effect that I'm going to be showing you is how to create a flicker flash sort of effect, or a strobe. It's pretty simple. Now there is two ways that you can go around this, or you can simply, let me just go to my effects and you can look for a strobe effect. Now here's a strobe light. It's under stylize, you add it on your clip. By default, it should operate like this. Now if you go under the effect controls, you can choose how it operates. So you can choose it to make the layer transparent or to operate on a color. These settings are a bit more complicated, so I'd prefer us to do this manually. So I'll delete that effect. Now, where I want us to create this strobe, I'll just zoom in and then I'll get a razor. And then you can just try cutting a few frames. Okay, let's try cutting 5 frames each. So I'll hold shift, go to the right once. Now we have 5 frames, and I'll do the same. So I'll keep cutting like that. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now once you've cut that, you can delete alternating clips. So I'll delete this one, keep that one, delete this one, skip, delete, delete. And then I'll also need to cut another one, 5 frames, and delete it. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in between. So let's just play this. Yeah, so you can see the timing is a bit off, but it's because we chose to go with 5 frames. Now you can make this less by reducing the interval between each frame. So I'll just cut like this. So I think I'm skipping like 1 frame each. Then now let's just delete one while skipping the other. So depending on the mood of the song, you'll be able to determine how you want to do this. So let me just preview this. Yeah, so you can see this is kind of a very hip hop flickering. Yeah, and I like it. Yeah, so that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to keep it as short as I could and also put as much knowledge as I could in one video. Hope to see you in the next one. In case you have something to add, a comment, a suggestion, or anything to ask, kindly leave it on the comment box and I'm happy to interact with you guys. My name is Danny James. See you in the next video. Peace.